Hey, I was going to say good morning. It is morning for me. First of all, thank you for the questions that you're sending in. I mean, some of them are really complex and not uh, have a really specific quality and a specific nature. But some of them are like so solid and basic, and they just remind me of things that I forget. So this was one of them. Like, whose story formula actually for? So thank you first for that question because I just assume too many things, really. Um, and so we're going to start with who it's not for because uh, that's easier for me, frankly, to say who should not be here. And this is one group, like if you're in this group and you're looking for a quick fix, certainly I get that. I want quick fixes as much as anybody. It's just my experience. Fixes aren't enduring, and enduring fixes are really what I'm all about. Um, you're not going to want to be in story formula if you really fight the idea. You, you fight the idea that your external world is driven by your internal world. No, look, I teach this stuff and I'm continually surprised at the connectivity. Here's a current one in my life. I have knees that hurt, and there's, knee replacement surgery is in the picture here. And I started doing indoctrinations, which are a particular kind of technique for doing internal work, internal narrative work, and my knees feel better. Now, explain that one. I mean, there are neuroscientists out there, there are psychoneuroimmunologists who can explain that way better than I can, but I'm not surprised. I'm appreciative of it. So if you really think that's not really how it works, you're just going to be continually fighting the idea of doing narrative work. So it's okay, but that's what we do in Story Formula. So this Story Formula is an education program. I mean, you're going to be learning stuff. And so we have had people come into our programs, and the feeling that I get is that they're there more to teach than to learn. Nothing wrong with wanting to teach. It's just that this is a learning program. There's a lot that is talked about in Story Formula that is to be kept in Story Formula. We just don't, growth really requires privacy, and that means there has to be a commitment to confidentiality. This one, you're definitely not going to want to be in any program of mine if you're wondering if Black Lives Matter. And I just usually put that out there right in front because that's so obvious to many, many, many people, and I'm one of them, that there's a difference between we just start at different places. And when you start at a different place, and I'm not wondering, is there systemic racism? It's alive and well. It's been alive and well for centuries. And to me, if that's not obvious to you, there's probably some other things that you're going to struggle with in Story Formula. This is another one. All of the programs that we do here at Iron Psych are science-based. It doesn't mean science knows everything. I am a person of faith, so it's not like I think science and faith are opposite each other, or they are in conflict with each other, because I just don't think they are. I've never had that issue of like, they're just not in conflict with some. They are in other people, but they aren't in me. And so I'm very interested in what science has been able to bring to us, and we use science. This is another important thing, is that we aren't about, this program isn't for angels. Nothing that we do at Iron Psych is for angels. It's for human beings. And the reality of human beings is we're not perfect. So if the negativity in somebody basically obliterates or negates everything that is good about the other person for you, then, again, Story Formula and really any program that we do is not for you. So who is it for? Well, if you share any of these attitudes, then you're going to feel like, good, I found my people. If you think 1 year is a about the right amount of time of investment for you to take on these three major areas of your life, right? Health, wealth, and relationships. And you want enduring changes. And it doesn't surprise you that, like, if you want that, it might take about a year. If you're open to using internal narrative shifting to start problem solving on the outside, if you're not too cool for school, if you value privacy for yourself and other people, if you already know no lesser humans exist. Look, and when I say that, I am not saying that somehow I am a paragon of um, of living out that value. I just know it's a value that we have to all live out, that we will not solve problems on this planet if we have any kind of an idea of lesser human beings exist. That's probably the problem, that we have that idea. If you want to make good use of science findings, if you can tolerate that light and dark often live next to each other in yourself and in other people, if you know that your health, wealth, and relationships are all connected, and an improvement or a decline in any of those are likely to affect the others. And if you want more, this is a place where I want you to want more. And there's nothing wrong with wanting more health, more strength in your marriage, your relationship with your kids, more wealth. And if you really want to be deliberate in making the mark that you're making on this planet, you're making a mark. You are making a mark. The question is it the one you want to make? So those are at an attitude level, that story formula is for you. And this is sort of at a, external circumstances. So I'm going to rattle off a number of things here. If three or more of these are true for you, story formula is for you. You aren't as influential at work as you want to be. You have good ideas, they aren't listening to you. Who knows why, but probably there's some narrative work that could make a difference. Your relationships with the kids is a struggle. Who knows why, but generally a narrative shift will make a difference there. Same thing with your marriage. It's okay, but it's not great. This is not marriage therapy, but there are a lot of narratives around marriage that a lot of people have that are making it difficult to have a great marriage. And you can fix those without your spouse being in story formula with you. A lot of people have trouble keeping their health a priority. They take their health for granted. They take their sleep for granted. And, these all for me are all health concerns that, you struggle with prayer or meditation or something that's spiritual development. You just can't get it going, keep it going. You have too much of the negative emotion, too much anger, too much fear, too much contempt. You should study things. There's something you should be learning. You should be exercising a little bit of your intellect, and you're not. So you're not as you're not as intellectually fit as you could be and probably should be. You don't have good habits around sleeping, eating, or moving. So to me, those are all getting above the line. Those are all your health concerns. You don't earn what you're worth. Now, look, most of us at a personal worth level aren't treated like we have the value that we do. Earning what you're worth has to do with what are you doing in the marketplace, and how is it that the marketplace isn't valuing you like they could and should. So that's usually narrative work on your part that undergirds behaviors that change. Here's another, maybe you are being paid plenty, but you're a little bit ashamed about how you spend the money. The money isn't being spent in ways that you'd be, if you were to open your accounts to everybody, if you're totally transparent, would you be okay with everybody knowing how you're spending your money? Now, I'm not saying I'm a fan of privacy. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying if that did happen, would the two of you, if you're sharing money, would the two of you be proud? Would your children look at mom and dad and go, that's pretty cool how they're spending money? Or would it surprise a few people? So that's a little thing to think about. If you're doing a little too much escapism, life is a little heavy, a little hard, instead of learning how to face it directly, usually a narrative issue, you're leaning a little bit too much into escapism. Escapism is basically excesses in those areas. I could have put sleeping in there too, booze, videos, TV, shopping, gambling, work, sports. anything that is good can be done in excess, and that's escapism. I'm doing too much of it. Um, too much of a survivalist. I have enough money to get by, but not extra. The marriage is okay, not great. The stuff with the kids, okay, not great. Health, not the sickest person at work. So, there's a little bit too much survivalism. And this one, you're not sure what kind of a legacy you'll be leaving. You're going to leave a legacy. You can't help but make a mark. The question is, are you making the kind of mark you want to be making, the kind of mark you could be making? I personally think people are meant for more. And, this story formula is really intended to help you lean into those. So this is for you if you want to learn how to use narrative to keep yourself above the line, right? To keep yourself healthy, spiritually, physically, emotionally, intellectually. If you want to learn how to use narrative to strengthen your relationships with your children, spouse, and important others. Some people have stuff at home relationship wise, and they're doing pretty good, but not as much with their parents or their adult siblings or team members or at work. Use narrative how to learn how to build and use wealth in ways that are permanently meaningful and fulfilling to you. That's a little more complicated. An awful lot of people have a fantasy: if I won the lottery, an awful lot of my problems go away. You actually could get a different set of problems. It might be a set of problems you prefer to the current ones you have in your money world. But there is a lot to the idea of, like, once I'm not just surviving, what next do I want to do? And here's the irony: to get out of survivalism around money, you actually have to know what that looks like. And then this one, you really want to learn how to use narrative to create a legacy that you're proud of, to a mark on this planet that you're really proud to say, that's what I did. That's what I did while I was here. That's who Story Formula is meant for. If you see yourself in what I have written here, it is my deepest hope for you that you will join Story Formula 2022 and get on this journey in a super intentional way. Talk soon.